does a CEO really have to give up all the executional things? Like, do I really have to get some copywriter that's better than me? And if I do that, then what if I lose the passion in my business? One of my favorite part about your book is, or at least the part where I find most valuable, even though it's very simple, is I think there's this part where you talk about the evolution of a CEO, and I think the role of a CEO. I think that's so impactful to me is because I feel that anyone who's watching this right now, most of us, we are like, we're starting something out, even if you're self-employed, you're CEO, right? Basically, you're the one doing everything, okay? Putting multiple hats and all that. And I felt that the way you define what's the real role of CEO really important, and helps me to kind of see, okay, where am I supposed to go, or how am I supposed to aspire to be as a CEO that really adds value to the company. So can you elaborate a bit more about what is the whole evolution about, and like what is a true role of a CEO? What should a CEO really focus on?
Yeah. So as a business grows, I mean, when people start out as startups or as new businesses, I mean, as the leader of the business, sometimes we just call ourselves CEOs. Not wrong, but typically a CEO needs to manage a lot more people, because I think one of the main roles of a CEO is that of a facilitator and that of a people manager, a leader in a sense, right? Because as we grow in our business journey, what happens is that we typically stop being the person, the person who actually executes on things. Like I was from a technical background, so I did like programming and marketing even on my own, right? As my business started. As we grew and grew, those roles had to be let go. Those roles couldn't be things that I did anymore, because the business can find somebody that can do that a lot better than I could. And my role as CEO shouldn't be that of like, a programmer or a marketer. I had to be more than that. I had to empower people in my team to do those roles better than I could, and to help them work together as a team, so that it's no longer just an individual effort, either myself or that programmer or that team. We're not looking at an organization, and how do you actually harness the output and the productivity of an entire organization so that everybody is working together towards the right organizational objectives. I think that is the true value of a business leader or a CEO in that case, because only then can you really get the results that are, tenfold or hundredfold that of what one person can do.
So that's the role of CEO, right? Which is not to actually do the executional work, but to be like what you said, like to bring people together, to help them to become more like coaching, right? It's like coaching your team members, yes. Helping them become better, empowering them. But what if some of us, we are not people person? We have to be a CEO at the start, because we can't hire one, right? I mean, if your company is new, right? You are directing the company, obviously you gotta be the CEO. But what if some of us are just not good with managing people per se? And what if we are very good at like certain executional role? So I remember in your book, you mentioned about how you love programming, but you had to give up programming because you're not the best programmer around, right? Yeah. So I have a real issue here, okay? Like in my business, I'm the CEO role. So I obviously bring people together. I set up the systems. I sometimes I have to coach people one-on-one. But what I really enjoy, or what I really love doing, is actually copywriting. Okay, I think I'm pretty good. I think, right? But the other thing is that whenever I write copy, right, I really feel alive, and I felt like that really helps to steer the direction of the company, because a lot of times it comes down to the copy and the marketing angle, and I really enjoy doing that. So like, does a CEO really have to give up all the executional things? Like, do I really have to get some copywriter that's better than me? And if I do that, then what if I lose the passion in my business?
Yeah, so it really depends on what the goal of the business owner is. I also use the example of Gymshark. I thought that was a great example, because that's a typical journey that people have, right? Ben Francis created Gymshark, which from nowhere started becoming a brand that could compete with Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Puma, all of that, right?
They just went above a billion valuation already, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I think about 1 year ago already. So they probably are more right now. So when they did that, and they got to $1 billion or $1 billion plus valuation. One of the things that Ben Francis did was say that, hey, I started the business because I am all about the product, and he loved the product, right? He said, you know what, I'm just going to give up the role of the CEO to someone else who could do that, and I'll just do product. And so for a while, he became the chief product officer or the chief marketing officer, I think. And that's what he did. So I think that's one possibility that owners can do. But I don't think we need to do that all the time. A lot of our businesses, or as entrepreneurs and owners, right, we realize that just like yourself, we have certain things that we are naturally good in and we are very passionate about. I think it's still possible to hold that and still run the company. So we don't necessarily need to be the people that write the copy, especially if it's like projects upon projects of copy. But we can absolutely be the person that can either provide the training or provide the approvals or maintain the quality of the copy that's coming out of our organizations. So we can train the teams to get to the level that we want as owners and entrepreneurs. So I think that's one way of doing it. I think it actually is more beneficial because that's when we as owners know exactly what's going on and what exactly is the results and the output that we are giving our clients. So it's definitely still possible.
Got it. At what point, because I realized that when I do a lot of research on different kinds of companies where the owner actually stepped down. So you made a very good point, like Gymshark, for example, he stepped down as the CEO and he went to become the chief product developer or something like that. At what point do you think that someone can do that, right? I realized that for these companies that when the founder step down, they are usually really big companies, multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
Is it really even possible for an 8-figure company or 7 or even 7-figure company to step down as a CEO?
I think it is possible for 7, but it's a little bit harder. For 8, I think it's completely possible because the CEO's compensation, a professional CEO, probably starts from $15K onwards a month as a salary, as a base salary. So that's something that an 8-figure business typically can afford. And at a point of time, if the business owner feels like he or she is already maxed out, I think that's probably when they can start exploring hiring, right? Because just like any other role in the business, the CEO position is also a role that you can hire for. And that's why you see CEOs being hired and running companies all around. It's just like any other role. So at a point of time, I think it's just more of whether or not the company can afford it and what kind of sacrifices or what kind of systems and processes you have in place to cover that.
Yeah, I thought it was funny where we all grew up thinking wow, we want to be a CEO, right? It's like a title, a very prestigious thing. But as you grow into business, you realize that it's actually just a CEO is just an employee of the company, right? You can just and in fact, a lot of owners don't even want to be the CEO themselves. They will hire someone rather to run the company for them.